Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining me. This is Tara Lee Live, and you are here on YouTube today, and I am joined by an amazing guest panel this morning. Always here with my friend Drake as my co-host over here or there. I don't sure where he's at on my window somewhere. But also here with LemonHoko. He has been having an amazing breeders podcast that he does on Discord. And he has been kind enough to bring on over some breeders here. So we're going to be having some breeder panels on Saturday morning now. So Lemon, welcome to the channel. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what we got going on today?
Hi, Tara. Yeah, just want to thank you for this format, for us to be able to share a lot of this information that us breeders have. Most of the people that I like to converse with are the younger people, the newer people into the industry. Obviously, the old heads, the successful guys, really don't need the platform because they have a good following. But this is I like to support the newer breeders, the people that are doing it correct. And just about everybody here on the panel I've had a chance to speak with, and I've got a lot of respect for. Seattle Chronic is new to me, and I've followed some of his work. Like I was telling him earlier, I'm a big fan of his work. So this is going to be a really interesting talk, and should be really fun.
Yeah, I'm stoked. I'm ready for it. It's been a long time coming.
Well, awesome. Well, let's introduce the guys as we go here. Drake he can bring up the Instagram if you want, and we can show you who these people are once we get going. We first I see Blessed Coast Seeds off here. Hello, Blessed Coast Seeds. You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, how's it going? Bless up, everybody. I'm hailing from Port Angeles, and I've been making seeds for about 13 years now, and pretty much been doing it ever since I got paralyzed. And yeah, man, I've been growing pretty much everything I can get my hands on and crossing everything I can. And I study plant breeding and genetics at Oregon State University, so that's kind of helped me change a little bit of the ways I go about doing things. And man, it's just been a long journey, and I'm just excited for what's coming and making more seeds.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us today. I really appreciate it.
Yes, it's looking great. Looking awesome.
Who else we got up next, Drake? Let's go. Who do you want to go with next? Who do you got spotlighted next, Drake? I'll let you call it out.
Well, let's see here. Well, we got good old 710. We have to give a shout out. We have to say, hey, and what's going on and what are you puffing on? I think we know.
Hey, everybody. Cheers. Yeah, 710 here. Just, weed nerd, learning, studying genetics, botany, entomology up here in Canada. And yeah, excited to be here. Cheers, everybody.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We're super excited to have you. Oh, look at me going rogue here. But yeah, let's keep rocking on through this list. How about Doc? What are you up to, Doc? It's good to have you here.
Thanks, guys. I'm just stoked to be here. I've known Lem for quite a few years now, and he's been a big inspiration to me and some of my work. So I have no formal background. It's just something that I've enjoyed with a lot of passion and love. So just try to do something unique, something different, and hopefully people enjoy what I do.
Awesome.
Oh man, that's pretty.
Well, I'm enjoying just looking at what you're doing. All right, Tara, what say you? Who's up next?
Okay, so do we have Seattle Chronic? Do you have Seattle Chronic loaded and ready to go?
Oh, I sure do, somewhere here.
Right.
Well, at least I did. Maybe I jumped off, whatever.
It's really cool to see the
we got
familiar.
LemonHoko. Okay, I'm like, you got him there. I think I see it. Okay, there you go.
It's really cool to see the familiar names in chat too. I have a lot of friends in chat.
Yes. So welcome, Seattle. Do you want to tell a little bit about yourself?
Yes, I'm hailing from Covington, Maple Valley area, Washington. I've been doing this for longer than I haven't, I guess is the easiest way to say at this point. Honestly, I got in it for breeding purpose, was medical reasons. I couldn't find a medication here in the Northwest, and the late 2000s or early 2011 medical days, and so I started really working on trying to develop profiles and finding medicine for chronic pain and things that I couldn't necessarily find, and it led me down the rabbit hole that where I'm at today.
Awesome. Well, welcome. And of course, you got to bring LemonHoko's screen up there. Drake, did you get LemonHoko shared up there?
Yes, I'm
On
just getting that
Instagram.
going
Thank you.
again.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Of course, good old Lemon. We're so happy that you brought this together over here. We're equally as happy that you're providing an amazing platform for breeders to get together and everyone to go check out and educate themselves. Just listen in, be a little fly on the wall for some of these awesome giants, because it's incredible to just sit there and listen to. So if you haven't already, go to Discord, add up LemonHoko, and he will invite you in. Oof.
Awesome. Thanks, Drake, for doing all that. I appreciate you sharing all those screens and lining all that up for me today. So, well, welcome everybody. Let's say hello to the chat. Who do we have in the chat? I see 9 Inch Cola is hanging out there with us. What's up, Kathy, my sister, Red River? Thank my moderators. Octo Tom, how are you? Catman Gru, what's up? Sound Remo, how are you today? That guy does cool cactuses, by the way, you guys. Sound Remo on Instagram if you've ever checked them out. Some really cool flowering cactuses. Who else we got out there? Oh, I think we have another one of our friends that I see on that's been on your Discord too, Lemon. You do have a lot of Discord people out here. Welcome, welcome, everybody. All right. Well, I say we all take a big dab or a fat rip or light them joints up, and let's have this big celebratory smoke sesh together. And Lemon, let's just start it off with you. How did you get here? Why are we here? Let's do it.
Oh man, that's it's probably going to take a long time to cover, but I'll kind of condense it real quick. I started growing probably before most of our community was even born. Back in 1978 was when I first put my first seed in the ground, but I didn't really get into it heavily until the mid 80s. Then I got commercially involved really heavy through the 90s. And then medical, I started getting into the medical scene, the medical marijuana scene up here in our state, the early 2000s, about 2006 or 2005, somewhere in there. And then I kind of got into the commercial breeding aspect of seed making part, and that was more the international scene, because it was really hard to spread our seeds here in the U.S. Actually, what was weird is if you wanted to sell to somebody in Washington State, I would have to sell to UK, and they would have to buy from UK. So my seeds went to UK and back to Washington State, which was totally weird to me. So I try to make more direct connects, and that's how my Discord came along. And just so you guys know, if you guys followed me before on Instagram, this is my 3rd or 4th account. My hand's been slapped a few times because I said too many things in private chat, and they caught me. So be careful out there in the Instagram world and with how you communicate. Try to do everything off of Instagram so you don't get your account banned.
Just in general, right? It's better to tread cautiously and not step on people's toes and educate softly as opposed to being very opinionated. We've got a lot of close friends that have been burnt recently just because their opinions are far too loud in the community, and some of them don't even have anything to do with cannabis specifically. So, got to be careful with that.
And in the past, I'll just touch on this real quick. Before it became medical and out in the open, we had 2 enemies in as a grower, and the biggest enemy wasn't the cops; it was the rippers, the people that would come in and take your stuff at gunpoint, and who knows if you even make it out of the situation. But it was a dangerous world back then. So yeah, a lot of those habits kind of transfer over to the future and how we act now. Yeah, a lot of us from the old world still kind of nervous about being out in the open. So, but a lot of old heads are slowly coming out of the shadows now. So you're going to start seeing a lot more of my generation coming out, I'm sure.
it's because of people like yourself and things like this, and especially these times, it's just making a lot more forthgoing to come out here and say hey and talk about what you're doing. I mean, you can get out here, you don't even always have to have your camera up, right? Like you can just go and spread some information and at least make these connections and networks. So that's a beautiful thing. And thank you so much, Lemon. That was a great little rundown, and I can't wait to go more into the Lemon story, because holy smokes, I should say the Lemon stories, because I feel like they're never going to end.
I know we've got to hear a lot of private ones offline too, so we've been really lucky. So that's another reason why Drake and I are here. I'm not a breeder. Drake's not a breeder. 710, he's gonna be a breeder, but he's going to school and he's got his last year this year. But all these other guys on the panel today are breeders. And so we're kind of here to ask little questions about people that maybe don't know so much about breeding or seeds, or why would I buy a seed from this person? Why would I spend the money on buying a pack of seeds? Because let me tell you, I'm new to this. Like, I've bought some seeds. I was also gifted some amazing seeds. I was also gifted some amazing plants. And I've been lucky enough to come across some amazing genetics. I feel really sorry for the person that's had to grow from that bag seed, because I'm new to the cannabis industry. So I really honestly haven't, you all. So I haven't went, oh, plant this seed and let's see what we got. So it's a little different, you guys being breeders here today. And I appreciate you coming to share this knowledge with us today. So again, thank you for being here. Who wants to talk? We were having a conversation. Who wants to talk about the most expensive pack of beans we bought, right? Wasn't that was one of the things we talked about?
I was just going to touch on that too.
Yeah,
People have spent outrageous amounts of money on these expensive packs, and then just had a bunch of duds or hermaphrodites or feminized plants that are males, or just, all sorts of issues. And that's another lovely thing about getting all these people together. And, I like you said that, why would you buy seeds from these people? Well, they'll be able to explain to you all the work that actually goes in, or the work that should go in when you're doing these projects, and when you're putting the real time in, because it's not this easy flip over stuff. And if you're producing a whole plethora of different things on a yearly basis, they're probably not going to be worth a whole ton. So that's just stuff that people need to know. Like as a more novice consumer and the breeder end of things, it's something that was really educational for myself, because you go out there, you would assume if someone merits a lot of money for their packs that it's got to be some great stuff, and then you find out that it's not quite the case. So well, we'll see. But anyways, hey, I got Doc D next staring at me on the panel here. So what about you? What got you into cannabis quickly? Why are you interested in breeding? What inspires you?
Yeah, I mean, the idea of for a seed of pack to give to somebody, I mean, it's a real journey, and that gives someone the opportunity to experience your art form, and can kind of just like speak to people. It's I don't know. It's the question's a little too broad for me. What I really wanted to see is check this out. I got an old LemonHoko seed catalog.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right here. This has got his Berry White BX in here. His Blue Alien, the Dog Poo F2.
Yeah.
I found
that's super cool.
But it's his journey, and I guess like
So how old is that?
Lem, when did this come out?
I think it was the last Seattle High Times, whenever that was. I think it was 2012 or something like that, 2013, 14, in that area.
Dude, I've never even seen that before. Crazy.
Yeah, I only blew those flyers up because me and Kaya were vending together, and I needed to have some stuff on the table.
Okay, because I was like, yeah, where did this come from?
I had a bunch
really
of them.
cool.
I went in the garbage after the event because there's no, that was the sad thing about the legalization of recreational weed in our state, because now we don't have any events that are like they used to be.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be worth money.
Yeah.
Watch.
Yeah, there you go. Let's auction it off, Doc D. So Doc D, what would you like people to know about you? Like maybe how you got in the cannabis industry or that, and then let's talk about the most expensive pack you've ever bought after that. There you go.
Sure. So what got me into the cannabis industry? I just liked cannabis, and I wanted to find kind of the best stuff I could. So I think everyone kind of starts at a certain point. You usually kind of do. It used to be the Amsterdam Cannabis Cup winners. Everyone used to kind of go for the European flavors, try to check those things out. And then you started going more to US breeders. But yeah, this format's tripping me out.
That's awesome. That's
okay.
exactly what we were
Dude,
looking
you're
for.
totally
Oh,
cool.
perfect.
So, do you have it on gallery view? Maybe
Yeah, I think
you do.
so.
Okay, cool, awesome. Okay, so what was the most expensive pack you've ever spent on beans? Do you want to share that with us, or on a clone? Maybe even we could even talk about
Yeah,
that.
you know, I'm not one. I kind of like the opportunity for things to fall into my lap. I've had a really good opportunity to know super excellent people who have just been kind of able to give me beautiful blessings. So
Nice.
I've only really had to spend $400 on my most expensive pack. That was a pack of Big Sur Holy Weed from Snow High, and I just never even germinated it. You know, when they're that expensive, I think people are shy because you don't want to be disappointed. It's the idea of spending all this money on Candy Rain, what we kind of discussed a little bit earlier, right?
Can't
And
wait to hear about that.
so you have two systems. You can either go ahead and try to germinate them because you're super excited to spend all this money, or you can stash them and feel like you have this gem, right? But enough people ended up actually germinating those and were super disappointed. Nothing actually popped. So
Yeah, see that.
or they're mutants or whatever happened. So you don't want that. I think it's better to have more affordable packs, like to charge $30, $50, $60, $80, pretty much anything under $100, I think is kind of fair for a pack of cannabis seeds, depending a lot on variables. But the expectation's a lot different, I think, once it crosses that threshold. Once you get over $100, you expect real performance out of plants. And I don't think most people can really live up to that metrics. So you better keep it reasonable for people.
Yeah, you've got that right. If you're hitting A with B and selling C, well, then you need to be doing that for a cheap price, especially if you just bought A and B from fucking, it's ridiculous what's going out and the
affordable,
amount of
right?
money.
You just have to be honest with your skills and what you're putting out there and your level and where you're at. I don't think anyone really at any price point is going to be hitting that. It's difficult because everyone has a different perception of quality and what they're looking for in a plant. Not everyone knows what they're really looking for, and people want to be able to play around and grow a bunch of different stuff and not be totally broke doing it.
Yeah,
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
and
make it affordable for people.
Like you were saying before too, you've been blessed to have these amazing people that you're able to grow and learn with, that we're able to share things down and pass things down. And that's the joy about being just a good individual. When you're out there and you have good energy and you're putting that out and you're working hard, you're meeting all these other people and doing your best, it comes right back around.
Yeah, and I think all these dudes are doing really cool stuff. And there's enough space for everyone to do really cool things. The idea of competition, I think, is keeps people down, and everyone it's like music. People can like a lot of different types of music, and there's room for everybody to enjoy some good art.
Exactly. That's
agree.
well said, man.
Yes, that is so well said. That's awesome. Blessed Coast, how about you? Do you want to talk about how you kind of got into it and then the most expensive pack?
A little bit of that Candy Rain
Sure.
story.
I mean, right off the bat, the most expensive pack I ever bought was Gorilla Grape from Outlaw Genetics way back in I don't know, it had to have been 2000, probably 2009, I think, on Breed Bay. I don't know if any of you guys were on Breed Bay, but that used to be the spot. Back then, it was forums, right? If you weren't on a forum, then you kind of weren't in the community, so to speak. And after I got paralyzed when I got hit by a bus and I got paralyzed, and so I started really growing at that point because it was yo, I can't afford to not have herbs. So I started growing a lot, and so I started posting pictures and getting on forums, and I just ended up linking up with some people that were really good at making seeds. One of them was Subcool back in the day. I think if you weren't TGA or somebody overseas, you weren't really making a lot of money selling seeds. So it was kind of a cool thing to link up with that guy in the beginning, kind of see how it was done. And he really showed me a lot of pretty much just how the industry, worked and how everything, how I had to really he put so much time into testing his seeds and making things that were different and unique, that I think that's why he kind of caught fire the way that he did. But yeah, so that kind of jump started it for me. And then I started selling herb at this cannabis farmers market. That's where I met LemonHoko, and yeah, that was a huge jump for me too, because he really took breeding to a different. It wasn't really about taking this to that. It was more about the science behind it, and how do I pass certain traits on, and how do I stabilize things? How do I change it to be more of what I want it to be instead of what it is? I think a lot of people, when they look at breeding, they're kind of either doing one or two things, where they're just kind of either trying to lock something up and recreate something. So if they have a really special clone, they just want that clone in seed form. That's kind of, so they can sell that. Or they just like two plants and they're just like, well, if I cross these, I like both of them. Hopefully I'll get something else that I like out of those, two plants or whatever. And Lemon really just like doesn't really do it that way. He does it more of like a classical style, where it's like breeding dogs, to where they're really into the science of what they're passing on and why are they passing it on. And so
Like you need
that
to
really,
genetics to breed.
yeah,
Crazy, a crazy concept.
yeah, that really opened up my eyes a little bit, and so that just kind of set me off on a journey to just collect all the different old school clones I could, and breed as many plants as I could, and test as many things as I could. And eventually it went recreational, and I started a recreational for a while there. That gave me the opportunity to really do a lot more seed pops as far as numbers go, and see a lot more as far as how things pass, and what's really in the gene pool. And then from there I started going back to college for plant breeding and genetics, because it was just kind of like a rabbit hole for me. I just kind of had to dive as deep into it as I could, just so I could make things easier on myself. And now I go about things totally different than how I did from when I started. And it's been yeah, just a journey, man. I do things a lot more with math now, and so that's interesting, using numbers and trying to figure out the percentages of how many times I find this and this amount of plants that I pop. And so that's kind of helped me, kind of design programs. I don't breed for a lot at once now. I kind of choose two things. I either want to pass this terpene and this other trait, whether it be plant structure, resin profile, something, and I'll kind of just breed for those two things. I'll do a dihybrid cross pretty much every time. And that's just made it a lot easier for me. So that's kind of where I'm at now. I've pretty much grown everything I can get my hands on. Any clone you can think of, I've either tried to get it or grown it. And so I think that too has been a huge benefit for me, especially, back in the day when it was like hard to get clones. I think I was really blessed because I was injured, and so a lot of people took me under their wing and gave me things that I probably wouldn't have got if I wasn't injured, but they were just trying to help me out. And they knew I loved the plant, and they gave me something to kind of get away from being injured, right? So
yeah, that's something we really like to talk about too. And like I was going to say before, like if you ever want to come on and just discuss, a little more personally, if you're comfortable, what happened and what you went through, and how you've made the best out of that and worked with it. We love getting those stories out because it's so inspiring for everyone out there. And there's generally quite a few people that it'll really resonate with, that are in either the same or very similar position, that are like, what, maybe I can keep going and something can work out for me in the end. So that's fantastic. And it was great. That was an awesome rundown, man. We're excited to have you here. And next I'm looking at Seattle Chronic here. How about you? What are you up to? You got a quick little rundown of your shindig, how long you've been at it, and maybe how much you've dropped on some seeds or some clones if you haven't been so fortunate.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've pretty much been at it 20-ish years at this point. I kind of started out when I was a teenager, and hopefully my parents don't watch this because I was doing it in the closet without them knowing. Killed a lot of plants that way. And then a lot of my friends from back in the day, we really just kind of got into growing and figuring out, like we were tired of paying so much for flower that we were like, man, how can we figure this out? Growing out bag seed. And then From there, everyone kind of developed their own stuff. I mean, I did a lot of helping back then, just develop rooms and, you know, just growing stuff out, helping people, especially friends that became disabled. Just really kind of running daily SOPs for them and just really getting to know growing. And then usually, like, I think it was around 2006 or something like that, 2007, I really started branching off and doing my own thing and kind of realizing the medical benefits to it. I mean, I started kind of finding hemp and things that people weren't growing out. And so really
I think we lost Seattle's audio
for
again.
me.
Hold on. There you go. Seattle, we lost your audio again. I had to mute your camera.
Okay, no worries. Where
There
did I
you
cut
go. Where were we?
off? Does anybody know where I cut off at?
Come on, all of us stoners. I just hopped back on here.
I know. I was like, oh crap! I just totally lost control of what was going on.
I think you were.
I'll go back to the one-to-ones. I'll just kind of start there. That's really where I started understanding breeding and kind of figuring out, you know, basing my lines basically off cannabinoid profiles. I started taking things to labs and getting a lot of analysis done back in the day. And then from there, once I'd kind of realized what the cannabinoid and terpene profiles where I could breed for, you know, structure or branching or resin content. And so I'd have intended outcomes. And then from there, I just started growing out crazy amounts of males. And that's really what made me have an understanding of what passed down dominant and recessive traits. I would grow out clone onlys and hit them with different styles of males and then just, you know, notate everything. And so I just have all these notes of basically, you know, what traits passed down based on what male, whether it's dominant or recessive. So I can look at a male and say, okay, well, he's going to basically add just a little bit. He'll add some resin structure. Generally, I mean, you can't always predict it. Like Blesco said, it's all mathematical. I mean, you can throw the numbers down, but again, Mother Nature always has some say in things. I found out there's only so much a scientific approach has effect, I feel like, and I feel like I've had these intended outcomes, and then come F3, F4, nature throws me a curveball, and I'm stuck having to rework things and back cross it. And that's really, I think with super sour CBD, it was the first sour one-to-one where I started having stability problems at like F4. And so I ended up having to back cross it a few times to regain stability and then moving it back out a few more generations. And really, it just became like a passion for me at that point to provide medicine, not only for myself, but for other people. Once people started buying out clones of stuff of mine within a day at medical collectives, and the different owners were just like, man, you really should release your stuff in seed form. And that's kind of where I started another small seed company. Didn't really, it was just, I don't even remember the name, but then I kind of wanted to play off the Sonics logo just because I was so fond of Seattle back in the 90s, like the grunge days and kind of the glory where we had music and it was more outlaw, and just kind of the spirit of Seattle was a lot different. It wasn't so liberal, you know. I mean, it's kind of become a crazy place in comparison to what it was. But the Sonics logo was basically an ode to that, and that's why a lot of my stuff is named after, you know, grunge, Mudhoney strain. I have Melvins, just a bunch of, you know, different stuff that's basically related to it. So that's my passion, is really working on the medical aspect of things. Always going to be something I focus. I mean, I do work on THC dominance in commercial lines. CBD, I've been working on some hemp lines as well, but my focus is always going to be cannabinoid profiles and dominance in cannabinoids, and then terpene profiles as well. I like playing with unique profiles or things that were essentially bred out in favor of THC dominance throughout the years. And so kind of going back over old stock and stuff, I like to find old exotic profiles and really incorporate them into kind of some newer things or play around with other land races. I mean, my hunting is generally on a very broad scale. Like I do mass amounts of anything from ditch hemp over to, you know, $600-700 packs. And that kind of leads into the question you guys were asking about how much I've spent for a pack. And I mean, I've actually bid, and I didn't win the bid, but I bid $6,500 on a box set from Sin City Seeds. It was a collection. of their entire thing. It was for a benefit auction for Blockchain Novelties, who was recently locked up, just to get his legal fees. But the most I personally paid is $1,000 for a pack. And again, that was another donation thing. Wow. And it was friend Mandelbrot. His wife continued one of his lines, and it was a real rare sour royal pack. And so it was something I would have paid $2,000-$3,000 for it. Honestly, it's when it comes to things that are lines that are completely swept, gone, you can't find them anymore. And it's that last pack. I mean, so to be able to hold, a little piece of Mandelbrot's lineage and,
well,
my
that
hand,
personal sentiment too, right? Like some things just ring out to certain people, and it just merits that specific value. But then the joy is usually to get that, and what you guys can do is replicate it and then get it out there for everyone to enjoy and to really get that out there. And that can be the service that you're able to provide, and it's awesome. So thanks, man. That's super cool. Great story is, all you guys. And then here, who do we have? We've got our friendly neighborhood science man, 710. How are you this morning? What are you like breeding with?
Well, like Blessed Coast was saying, I got lucky enough to, get in with some like amazing people, some really top notch breeders, Vision Creator guys over at White Buffalo. When you get top notch genetics when you're starting out, it's you kind of have your bar set pretty high. But yeah, I don't know. As for breeding, I'm really new, so I'm not going to pretend like I've been doing breeding for a long time. I've made some crosses. I'm working the lines. I'm studying breeding and genetics in school, so I'm going more the scientific route, using lots of numbers. When you get into when you start popping, big numbers, and you can start making genetic linkage maps, and checking your ratios, your percentages. It's just, it kind of brings it makes it a little easier to select for, especially if you don't have those decades of experience like a lot of the guys in here that have just, I just know if I cross this with this, it's going to be this, but yeah.
What plants are you working with? I was gonna say you might as well show them 710s. It shows off Vision stuff more than Vision's own page.
We'll make sure we'll give a little love to White Buffalo as well.
Yeah, White Buffalo. There you go.
White Buffalo.
And Scabby as well.
They do some amazing work, these guys.
I think 710's being too humble about his background in genetics here, because I've had a good chat with 710. I mean, a couple hours the other night, and it was very intriguing, and it was nice to talk to somebody at that level of knowledge. So I've got a lot of respect for 710.
I love talking genetics. It can get deep sometimes, and when you're, I always see people's eyes glaze over, so I try not to get to that point. But yeah, I mean, as for breeding, what I'm working with right now, I'm doing 2 main projects right now. I'm working with the Roberts Creek Congo. I've crossed it with cherry wine CBD, high CBD hemp varietal. I'm working that line to produce some high energy pain management, specifically for people with chronic fatigue, chronic pain. Something they can, get up in the morning and puff on and not be, sitting in the couch all day. As for that, aside from that, I mean, I'm working with a couple different landrace varietals. What do we got here? There's a Special K Original Haze cross from White Buffalo that I'm messing with. It's just amazing. I've crossed it to the Roberts Creek Congo as well, and we're excited to pop that. What else? Jeez,
like the
Congo S1s. Yeah. I've been messing with the Riftberry, which is a cross of Alien Rift from Ocean. Ocean grown, and it's Plushberry. I believe that's
I think
a
it's time
subtool.
for another dab. We haven't had
But
enough
yeah,
dabs, huh?
I
Should
think
we
it's
all
time
take
for another
another
dab.
dab? How's everybody doing out there? How's Chatland doing? Lemon, do we see any chat? Or do we see any questions? I want to make sure we didn't get any questions out there.
Oh,
Hey
I
guys,
haven't.
if you got any questions for these guys, or you're interested about any breeds that they've got, or any seeds they're selling, or anything, please, please let us know or ask the questions, and we will definitely pass them on too. If you're tuning in later to this show, please go and follow all these guys on Instagram. Contact them, reach out. Don't be afraid to reach out to people and ask questions. They'd be happy to answer them. And I think it's so awesome to have so many in the Pacific Northwest here today, in Washington especially, because holy shit, it's my tribe. You know, I'm on Eastern Washington, but at least I'm finally meeting people in Washington. This is so cool. So thanks for joining us, everyone, today.
Here's a little technical note. Kaya texted me, so he had company. He's on his way in as soon as he can.
Awesome. Good.
Al-
Another Washington Antonio in there.
Also, Smash Cannabis was. I noticed that this is what caught my eye in his chat. He had the Chem 91 cross to California Orange. That alone sounds really awesome. Then he hit it with the wedding cake times birthday cake, and it sounds epic to me. That's a cool polyhybrid. Let's see what comes out of it. But you know, when we're talking prices of seeds, I'm not sure if everybody went through it. I just want to kind of drop my story a little bit about how much I paid for the highest amount of seeds that I did. I think it's kind of a cool story. It wasn't meant to happen this way. I used to buy my seeds off of, well, the rare seeds off of THC Farmer on their auctions. They would have different auctions for different reasons. Some just for retail drops, but I think it was OG Rascal that was dropping. He made a couple of drops of the Alien Kush back then. I didn't know anything about the alien technology, and I started studying it. And it came from Alien Tech Cross to Las Vegas Purple Kush, and I thought, oh my God, alien, because I was really into conspiracy stuff, and I still am. But the alien really caught my attention just because of the name. So I studied the strain a little bit, and I liked everything about it being kind of a landrace strain coming over here by sea form by one of the soldiers that brought it over here from their deployment over there. So there was 4 packs, probably about 6 packs that were up for auction, and I didn't want to miss out. And it was getting late, and man, every time I put in a bid, someone would outbid me by $20. So I started bidding on 4 different auctions of the Alien Kush. And before I shut off, it went pretty constant for about 6 hours. I was refreshing and waiting for the time slot to end. But it ended up being about 11 o'clock my time, and I was going to crash for a little bit. So I put my last auction, and it was at 1,100 or 1,000 bucks at the time on each of the packs. Are really close to it. So I said, fuck it, I'm going to win at least one of these packs. I put 1,200 bucks in for all 4. And I wake up to an email telling me that I won all 4. And man, that's $4,800, guys. And it's like, holy shit, where am I going to get that kind of cash real quick? I wasn't prepared. I had 2,000 bucks to play with. And I wasn't prepared to dump that kind of cash. So, but luckily I worked it all out to where I paid it in 2 payments. I broke it up and got my seeds. And that's how I kind of started my alien lines. And, that alien seed batch right there, it was kind of hard to justify buying that amount of seeds or that for that amount of dollars back then in my view. But when I popped the seeds, there was a couple of gems that came out of it. It's primarily a male. We called it the Alien F2. He was a super stud. Everything he touched, he put crystals on, and just heavy resin set. And I shared him with Kaya. That's pretty much how we all started breeding together. Kaya used that male. I used the same male. We were running testers through different crosses to see what that male was, how stable he was, and all that. And Kaya really helped me with that male. And Kaya actually spurred off his seed business. That's how he's kind of started off that male. So that male was epic, and that purchase there, it started at least 2 different seed companies, if not more, up here in the Northwest. And that's how it happens, guys. It's just by luck sometimes. You run into stuff like that.
Dude, I always wondered where that came from. I never knew that. I always wondered how you got that.
Oh, yeah, I was panicked, when you get hit. See, you're not really, your reputation at this time, everybody that buys seeds off the internet in these auctions know this. If you don't come through, you're not gonna show your face at any another auction again because you're pretty much blackballed in the industry. So you got to come through. If you bid on something, you got to buy it.
All four though.
Ding, ding, ding. Winner, winner, winner.
That's so funny. That's so
Hey,
funny.
so yeah, awesome stories, guys. Thanks for being here again. So Smash Cannabis, I didn't delete your question, by the way. I don't know why it was deleted. He has a question for y'all, and it says, what mills they keep around and have had around the longest?
And quickly here, maybe just because I know we're losing Seattle Chronic pretty quick, so maybe we'll let you take the first swing at that one.
Honestly, man, with males, it's more I'll grow them out for a few years and kind of do a few collections, and I tend to store it in the fridge and have it. I don't generally keep my males just because of the plant count situation and constantly having to pop seeds that I'm constantly hunting. I only have so much space even going vertically. Really, I mean, I've held a male for probably about 3 or 4 years, and I think the one for the Super Sour CBD lasted about 6 total. That was my longest holding male in particular, but now I might do 3 years tops on a male, 2.5. And I've had a few that I've been working with, a guard dog F3 from Red Eye Genetics, which is an abusive leaner. It's a real recessive male, and so I was just, but he's very frosty, and so he'll just pass on basically a little structure and resin content, but just beefing up the mother. And he's got some beautiful anthos, some coloration as well to him, some pink coloration. So that's probably my longest current holding male.
Can I ask you a quick question about Red Eye Genetics? Is Majestic still running that clan over there?
He is, I believe, yeah, because Blake stepped out a while back to go do fishing.
Okay, so cool.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing is I ended up talking with Blake quite a bit before. Then this is before he backed out, bought his boat and started going up to Alaska. But him and I kind of started really talking, and he asked me if I wanted to buy out his stock when he's like, hey, I'm trying to buy a boat. So I said, I got a bunch of Mount Rainier and a bunch of other coveted stuff, which I followed Red Eye since, back in the day. I've used a lot of their work, their Cobain Kush, medicated OG. I did a back cross on for a 1-to-1. It's just a lot of their gear. They kind of had an idea as to what I was looking to do. And they had a good solid branding back in the day too, even with collectives, like the way they did packaging and things. And so I really looked up to a lot of their gear. And I don't know if people notice that, but I use a lot of their stuff, and it's just their Northwest influence as well. They have kind of the creative direction, like, Cobain Kush, Courtney Love, things like that, like same things I find interest in, just more an ode to the Northwest, like what, our heritage and genealogy, and just kind of fun plays on things like that. I love it.
That's where we cross paths, because Blake, I worked really close with Blake way back when he first got started. He used to work with Cannaventure. He was Cannaventure's rep.
Yes,
yeah. So that's, we kind of crossed paths in histories back then. That's kind of cool.
That's funny. And that's one of the things, like I said, I was a little bit different back in the day. It's like I clean baby face with long hippie hair, and I did not look the way I do now. So people are like, you're who? Oh yeah, I remember you. I don't, but I do.
And it's good to see you. Your video's coming in. So awesome.
Yeah, finally.
Nice. Yes.
Thank you.
Nice to see you. Good. Where are we at?
What else was in that question again, Tara? Do you have the question on?
It was how long they keep mills around for, and what mills that they.
Well, then I got one more to throw at you. Well, actually, you know what? Let's keep on topic here. Does anyone else have anything they want to?
So who else wants to add on to that question? Male. Doc D, you got some?
Yeah, I've had my A5 Haze Type BX male for 4 years. That's probably the longest. But yeah, you have to keep them around for a little while to really figure out what happens with them. You have to clone them. You have to keep them in veg for a while. Sometimes they start to auto flower. So you kind of have to understand the traits of a male, because a lot of people take clones, right? I mean, that's how we grow in modern day cannabis. So seeing how the male reacts flowering him over and over and over again in different ways, taking males all the way through flowering them deep, right? So yeah, it definitely takes a couple years to understand a male, especially if you're making crosses with that male. You have to grow out the progeny of and keep around all your same mothers, right? It's a long process. So if you don't have that same male, you can't make those same crosses again. So depends on your direction, what you're trying to do. I mean, if you're trying to recreate a catalog for a longer period of time, it'll take a while. So that's why I have been keeping my males, some of the most select choice males, and just trying to work them slowly and see what happens.
You know, males are a lot harder to keep around than females, from my experience, because they tend to want to flower at the wrong times if they're root bound and so forth. I mean, that's a common test for a lot of us breeders. But there are situations when you have one male that you're working with and you're trying to keep him around and he's throwing pollen or trying to finish, and you're trying to keep him in veg state. And the plant count is really hard because our females are really what we derive off of to make our seeds, right? So because we got to make the one male cross to all these once you find the male that you want to work. So it's like saddle chronic hit. We're all under a plant count. Here's what I want to put this in real quick. This is where I got a lot of respect for the smaller breeders like us. I mean, we have to compete against these big recreational farms, right, that have choices where they can make choices of thousands and thousands of plants. We don't have that luxury. We have to be a lot more precise in our traits. We have to be a lot more precise in our selections and the way we go forward in our future. And it's a lot harder at this level because we're working with the smaller, gardens compared to what they have to pick from. Yep. Smaller gene ratio, gene pool. So I have nothing but a lot of respect for the smaller breeders because it takes a lot of skill to even produce or keep at the same level of the big boys, you know.
Yo, can I say something about that too? Like me and Two-Tone were just talking about this, and it's like there's also the other side of it where if you say you pop 10,000 seeds, like how are you going to go to every single plant, really develop that relationship, really have the eye for what is in there when there's 10,000 plants for you to go through? Like, I think at that point you're seeing different traits, right? You're seeing it from a broader perspective. So yeah, you might see some plants are taller, some plants are shorter, but you're not going to see the minute details in the terpene profiles and the bud structures and just really like the characteristics of a plant, you know? And like guys like you that have been doing it for so long, when you look at a plant, it's more like seeing a human face. You really notice details differently than I think somebody else that just looks at a plant. So when you have that many faces, it's really kind of hard to sift through it. But when you kind of have a smaller amount of plants to go through, say you pop 100 seeds, that's kind of like my magic number is about 100, because I feel like for one, if you can't find something good in 100 seeds, probably not worth going after unless there's something very specific in there that you want. But you know, I think it just really comes down to like, how much do you know that line? How much do you really know the plant? What are you really selecting for? I mean, that's really identifying those traits is a lot easier when you have that relationship. So
Totally. And that totally compounds and adds to the whole point. Like, yeah, maybe the end goal is your 1 to 10,000 males and females and your giant field and being able to hunt those, but you're still going to have to put in all this legwork first. Like say Lemon over here, who's dealt with a certain plant for 15 to 20 years. Well, now you can go out into these fields and you really know the minute differences. So you can spend less time, but still be able to actually know the differences because you've already spent plethora of years doing it. It's kind of like art, right? Spend 15 years and now you can make a painting in 3 hours plus 15 years of time. So it's, you know, it's just the same thing, the same addition, and a great way to look at it. Got anyone else who wants to touch on males? 710? You keeping any boys around?
I keep a couple boys around. The CBD male that I found that generally likes to recombine very well with anything I touch it to. I like to keep that one around. But yeah, males are just as important. It's the other half of the genetics you're using. So I like to do a lot of progeny tests whenever I touch a male and see how it recombines with everything else, and then kind of get a better idea of what to use it on. But yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
See, a lot of it.
Seattle, how are you doing for time? I don't.
I'm still, yeah, I got about 15 more minutes.
Okay, I just don't want to. I want to respect everybody's time here. So please, if you have something you got to go, you're definitely welcome to go. And I see Pacific Northwest Roots is going to jump in here in a minute. So go ahead. You were going to say something, Lemon?
Yeah, a lot of us keep males and females around, but a lot of our priorities are keeping the females around a lot longer than the males because to be honest, we're breeders. The males, of course, they're special, but we can make and breed another male and select another male. That's kind of, but the females are kind of, they're hard. The really good females are hard to track down because, we all know the industry, the elite cuts are worth a lot in your garden. So the males are pretty much, not, I don't want to call it fodder, but they're stepping stones to get to where you want to get to in my garden, my breeding programs.
I totally agree with that. Yeah, I tend to do pollen collection. Like I said, I'll keep them around for generally about 3 or 4 years just for testing purposes, like going through re-veg and just seeing how fast they respond genetically and just kind of putting them through stress testing as well, seeing what they can do for pest resistance, tolerances, different temperatures, humidities, basically what, notate everything. But the main thing I do is I will collect pollen, I'll keep them in vials and store them. And it tends to last for quite a while, especially if you keep moisture out of it.
Wicked. But that's actually what I was inclining to ask you before you took off, was kind of what you did with your male selection. So I'm glad that you touched on that. And cheers. How's it going, Pacific Northwest Roots? Kaya, how you doing?
Welcome, Kaya. Welcome to the stream.
Hi, y'all. Sorry I'm late. I was actually having some coffee and touring the farm. My friend Dan, I don't know if you guys know, Dan the Man, Mandalorian Genetics. So you get a 2-for-1. We made you wait, but you get a 2-for-1.
Awesome. Yes. Didn't I get to meet Dan? Did I get to meet you at the class, Logan's class up there?
Yeah,
Conscious Rhythms. Yeah. Awesome. Nice seeing you again. Welcome.
Good seeing you. Thank you. Let me know if the kids are too loud in the background and we'll shoo them off.
Yeah, the TV and it might, because your mic sounds really good. But do you want to do that, and then we'll touch base with you here in just a minute. We were kind of having all the guys. They talked about a little bit like how they got into the cannabis industry, and then they talked about what was the most you've ever paid for like a seed or a clone. And then we're talking males. So do you want to touch on any of those real quick, Kaya?
Males as in how long you're keeping them for. And then also we just recently with Seattle here started touching on some of the things you select for.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think we lost him for a second because he was adjusting his background.
I was shooing the kids upstairs. So no, I'm sorry. I only kind of caught the tail end of your question.
That's okay. So the question we touched on earlier is like, maybe like, do you want to people know a little bit about you, how you got into the cannabis industry or how you got into breeding, maybe touch a little bit about that. And then on that was what you maybe paid the most expensive clone or seed you paid pack for or whatever. That's what we first touched on. So go ahead.
Okay. I got into herbs. I smoked herb first time like 8th grade. Just like one off, and then maybe a couple times in high school. I was a high school athlete, so I wasn't really, I was pretty straight laced. But I got a head injury my junior year. I had like a double concussion playing football. And, we know now like the long-term effects of concussions. So I basically was suffering from depression, and they were trying to diagnose me and give me pharmaceutical stuff. And my friends gave me some ganja, and it helped me. And that was 1994, and that kind of changed my whole life. And I just started burning herbs and hustling herbs. I saw a lot of herbs come over the Canadian border where I was kind of stationed up there, and then I got into growing a couple years after that. And I really wasn't breeding until I met Mel, LemonHoko here. We were on the Northwest Green Thumbs Forum, and I went and visited him and had a little session, and he was saying, we got to talking about, his dog training and breeding, and we're talking about my family, and my dad raised game fowl birds and hound dogs, and was breeding all of that. And he said, man, you should get into breeding. And he said, you've got great elites, and everybody loves your weed. You should breed some of that stuff. And he kind of explained the game to me, explained how it worked, explained my responsibilities as a breeder. And he, basically took on a mentorship to me. And we started having little meetings, the Northwest 47 meetings with Exotic Mike and Fab Man, and sharing stuff. That was the first male I'd ever picked up. Mel gave me a Alien Kush F2 male, shared that with me. And that was actually, I think he probably explained it, that was a very expensive pack of seeds.
Just went over that before you joined on. That's awesome you're touching on it.
Yeah, so I got blessed with that cut, and I hit it up against all of my elites at the time. And he said, man, it might take you 5 years to sell this because nobody knows who you are. But he said they're gonna want this stuff. This the guy's an old timer, but he had his finger on the pulse of things, and he knew that folks were going to want this alien technology lineage, and he was right. And we did, he was on me about, very specifically about, you got to do line breeding and you've got to do your testing. And I converted all my rooms from hydroponic production rooms into really low tech, open bulb, organic, soil, water only, so that I could get a real even judgment on the products, and with as little variance between them as possible. And that was off and running from there. As far as buying packs of seeds, I really have not bought a lot of packs of seeds. I probably can count maybe 5 packs of seeds I've ever spent money on. Most of what I do is barter and gifting, and I like to share my special stuff with special people, and it comes around. So, but I would say, I think $200 was the most expensive I paid for a pack of seeds. It was some gear from Old Dominion at the Emerald Cup 2 years ago. Two-Tone Willie came up to me at the booth, and like, it's busy as all get out, and he was like, dude, you got to come smell this weed. You got to come smell this jar right now. And I ran out from behind the booth, and we went over there, and he handed me a jar of the skunk, and it was absolutely amazing. I thought I'd smoked skunk before, and I hadn't. And I tried to get some seeds from him, and he said, man, I just sold the last pack, and I was crying, and he said, actually, I got a pack here in my back pocket, and he hooked me up, and I just ran some of those. We're going to rerun them inside. So that was probably the most expensive pack I've ever bought. But I got all kinds of really cool stuff. I've won some stuff on, they used to have competitions where you'd post photos, and I've won some seeds on those competitions, and I kind of covet those. Those are fun. I get old timers that just hit me up out of the blue and are like, hey, I got these seeds from the 70s. I'll send you half, try to pop them. And so I've got some of that stuff too. And to me, that's the cool stuff. I'm not out chasing around the latest polyhybrid from, the coolest shirt company. I just don't do all that.
Well, you're putting out the right vibration, so what's going around comes around, and that was the same thing for pretty much everyone on here too. And for some of the older guys that have been around longer, there's a lot more of the expensive gear going on because that's all that was available. But for a lot of us, it's just building networks and relationships with people and putting out the good energy, and then stuff's coming back around. And especially like everyone on here, you're putting out amazing gear and hard work and being transparent. You're gonna have people left, right, and center that are just trying to provide things to you so that you can work with them because they're just excited to see what can come from it. So that's fantastic.
Sub Dog D.
I just want to say something real quick here, Kaya, because I listened to your interview on Hashish Inn the other night, and I was so impressed, man. When I said the torch has been passed, I truly meant it. I mean, you're the teacher now. You have that ability to be able to spread the word and how to make proper genetics, and that was a blessing for me to listen to, bro. It was really nice.
That was beautiful, Kaya. Absolutely. Very well said. I love your story. Very similar to mine. You were very eloquent. I love it, man.
Thanks. And Mel, big up yourself, because you explained to me you have to be doing these certain things. Like that's your responsibility, and there was more wisdom there than I knew at the time. But I just, I followed like a good grasshopper, and look where it led me. And what's really cool, check this out, for our last harvest here, Mel's daughter actually got to come out and work on the farm. Mel, she did an incredible job. I can't wait to have her back here when we get our next cycles running, and then she's never going to leave. We're going to keep her there. But what a cool way to have kind of that cycle complete. Mel kind of took me in and taught me some stuff, and then his daughter shows up out at my farm, and
she learned so much. That the hashtag that you were showing her, I told her, I said, to her, I said, this is stuff that you'll never learn from anybody else. Remember it. This is a very important experience for you. So bless you, man. Thank you for taking.
Hey, I'm gonna let Dan jump on here, and he can come on, and he can answer the same question.
Please, I was actually just gonna say, what's Mandolin's story? Let's hear it.
So yeah, I guess trying to remember.
It's Mandolin, right? Is that I said it right? Genetics,
Mandalorian.
Mandalorian, like
Mandalorian.
Oh,
Thank you.
yeah. So yeah, if I can remember the questions, basically I got started. I didn't actually have my first joint till I was 19, way past high school. Was never really exposed to it, and then fell in love with it. And then mainly for pain relief was my honest thing, like that. And cancer patients too. Had a mother-in-law had some colorectal cancer, and we're looking for some relief. And that's initially how I started growing. And I wanted to do it low key, and autos was my thing. We started the Autoflower Network. I think it's 11 years ago now, something like that. And I apologize, guys. I might get a little nervous here today too, because I didn't expect to be full frontal with so many, people I look up to. So it's kind of cool.
Hey, it's okay. Please take your time. I am just so blessed to have all you amazing growers in this room, because cannabis is so important to me. And thank you for being here. And thanks everybody in chat for being here. If you have any questions, please direct them our way. We'll help you get them answered, hopefully. So please, thanks. Go ahead. And I'm going to let you just breathe a little bit, drink up. It's okay.
And make sure you're on live chat over top chat for everyone out there.
But yeah, so we formed the Autoflower Network. I got into autos primarily because of the low key, and back in the early, lowrider days. They were, solo cup grows. You could keep it low key. I could produce some medicine for my, ex-mother-in-law, produce some medicine for myself. I have a lot of migraines and had a lot of oral pain before I had some procedures, and, it really helped me in that way. So that's when I really fell in love, I'd say, with the plant. So I, started networking with different people, and I learned from breeders in Spain, because the autoflower game had been huge in Spain for a long time, and the Autoflower Network really exposed me to that. So I started, playing with autos, growing with autos, and then I also have a passion for hot peppers. I do a lot of hybridization with hot peppers, and I'm like, if I can apply these practices to this, I can really start going down this road and producing something better, because stability was the problem. A lot of people were seeing stuff, they weren't, resilient to anything. Mold, mildew could eat them up. They weren't pest resilient at all. You get 15 different phenotypes a pack, and I just wanted something consistent. And I honestly got aggravated because I ordered a pack specifically for what I wanted, and it wasn't that. I think that's what really jump started it for me. So kind of how I got into the breeding side of things with autos. If I talk in circles, again, I apologize, but
no, not at all. That was fantastic. I know 710's over here growing some hot ass peppers all the time, so that's super cool that you're doing.
Yeah, big fan of the ridiculously hot peppers. I just pulled a couple packs. I got Carolina Reapers, Chocolate Trinidad Scorpion, 7-Pot Crown of Thorns. Yeah, nice, good stuff.
Yeah, real good stuff. And I've learned that living up here in the Northwest, it's kind of hard to grow any kind of capsaicin, because they don't like the cool nights that we get over here on the West side. Like, they've got to be underneath hoop houses, or you're just not going to get to finish them to the season. Kind of like the same thing with, our cannabis out here. It's a little frustrating. You got to keep the things covered. You got to either have stuff that finishes early or it doesn't, or, you're kind of behind the 8 ball with that. As far as like seeds and stuff like that, I'm blessed. I moved west to find the culture here. I come from a place, actually from West Virginia, honestly, where, it's very taboo. And just looking for that network of people. And I've never had, fortunately, since I've, been, met Kaya, and I've met Rob there as well. It's been a pleasure meeting him. We were actually talking about you earlier, dude. He was one of the first guys that I met out here once I found somebody that, I kind of felt like I connected with. as far as like the same kind of culture I was looking for, because I was a fish out of water back east. So it was nice to find somebody and to like not almost like legendary, because you hear about it and you start meeting people. So the community's been really good to me, and I've shared out quite a few seeds over the years. I deal with a lot of patient organizations here around Washington and donate seeds to patients that either can't afford it or just don't have access to it because we don't know where to get them. So, I work with a few, organizations to get that stuff to these people where we struggle to find just a clone or a seed. So that's kind of come full circle, and I've gotten quite a bit of, seed love for that. And I think the most expensive pack I recently bought was from my friend Rob here, though, but it was for donation for a good cause. So I don't know if you really want to call that a true purchase, but that's probably the best thing that I could remember buying recently, because over the last 10 years I don't think I've paid for a seed pack.
Same thing, building those relationships, networking, and putting out the right energy, and what goes around comes around.
And I just wanted to say, you say a donation, and I say, like, don't you want to support people that you know anyways? So, like, anytime that you're going to buy a pack of seeds, I think is a donation to a family or a breeder or someone that kept that strain alive, or that cultivar, however you want to call it. I think that, like, it's super important that we support people that we know. And I think it's amazing that these people are finally able to come out of the shadows and talk about keeping these cultivars alive, and being able to talk like to these old OGs up here, Lemon up here, connecting all these people. Because shit, Kaya, just until now, I didn't even know Mal was LemonHoko. Like, I just now connected the dots. I heard Kaya talking about him at that thing, and I'm like, oh shit, that's Lemon. I didn't know that, so this is like so cool. Here's full circle. So wow, so cool.
Let me kind of explain my name real quick. A lot of my friends know my real name as Mel, M-E-L, and I kind of did a game of I played around with my name, LemonHoko. If you turn that around, the Lem, everybody calls me Lem. It's Mel backwards, so that's my real name. And I answer to anything. I'd probably be answering to Lem or Lemon more than my real name in the last 15, 20 years.
And where does the Hoko come in?
The Hoko was a strain. It actually short for Humboldt County. It was a strain that was around here about 20, 30 years ago. Epic strain. I lost it in a bust, and that's kind of been my journey. That's why I started breeding, is because I was trying to replicate what I remembered of the Hoko, and I added that to my name when I went online, started coming out of the closet here. But hey, somebody asked a question real quick. I wanted to touch on this, and it was specifically to Kaya, and they said it was Fernando. Let me scroll up real quick. Or Matthew Fernandez. He says, questions to the roots, gentlemen. What are some of your guys' favorite strains, cultivars to chief on? I think he meant to either hash on or to smoke on.
Right now, my favorite herbs to burn. I really like this Royal Yerba that we've got. It's a dog walker coffee cross, and then we took that to the Royal from Emerald Mountain Legacy, and it's fire. It's super flavorful. Some herbs smell really nice, but they just don't taste right. And this one, like the smell translates to the smoke, and it's really nice. So I'm really digging the Royal Yerb. All-time favorite to burn is the blueberry. Shout out Mel, because he's the one that passed that around the $500 cut. That was the one that is my favorite. Like daytime, I can burn it all day long, never get burned out. It's flavor all the way through the joint. That one's really hard to beat. It's kind of like anybody that I know, it's their favorite. If it's in our circle, that would be your favorite too. It's amazing. I know Doc D's probably tried that one. Yeah, that blueberry is incredible. So for smoking, those are probably my two favorite herbs right now. What about you?
Right now, I did some wedding cake, and I did the runts, and a version of the mac in my outdoor this year. And I have to say, I'm more partial to the wedding cake. I'm really enjoying the feel it is. The mac is okay, great yielder, but yeah, I think the flavor on the wedding cake was right up my alley. I'm really enjoying that right now. It's nice to grow it yourself. I got the cut from California, so it's pretty impressive to watch grow too. Nice resin production.
Yeah, and then
Now
on the melt side for hash and stuff right now, I really enjoy our Hamma Hamma, and the strawberries just slaps. And we ran a couple new ones this year. This Lime Pop times Ghost OG from Kush Family, and that one really slaps. I got a Cherry OG, and that one's super gassy. And this Pinkleberry, or no, it's a Pink Lemonade. It's got this really great. And that one came from California as well, but this really great like grapefruit flavor to it, and a kind of an upful high to it. So I'm really enjoying that Pink Lemonade hash as well.
Was that what we had earlier?
No, we had the coffee earlier.
Yeah, that was good.
I love me that coffee, Kaya. Oh my gosh. Okay, so even what was it, a year old coffee was amazing that you made, that melt. I mean, that was, yeah.
Yeah, and you know the good thing
Smart.
about that. So we had sold some stuff to the store, and I guess they just kind of sat on it for a while, and Tara Lee went out and found it. The
Hey,
good
at
thing
least
about
I
that was-
bought them out of some stuff they needed to get rid of, and they were able to get fresh in, and I was appreciative of it, right? I'm good.
yeah.
that's
Um,
actually how I connected with Tara, is because I was watching one of her live streams or streams, and she was mentioning that she's smoking Kaya's coffee, and it's like, wait, hold it, you know him? You know, where do we connect here?
Oh, that's too funny. But that was it wasn't rosin, right? It was in hash form. And so when you keep your hash in that form, it stays longer, you know. Once you press it, the life cycle on the terps pretty much is like, okay, let's go, and then it's not gonna stick around for very long. So that's probably why it was still good, because it was in the hash form.
She also keeps it in the fridge. She never keeps it on the shelf. She's very good at that. So I appreciate that. That's one thing I really appreciate, going in and buying nice quality hash. When people keep it stored correctly, it's nothing more frustrating when you go in and your jar is upside down. You know, it's been melted halfway side and the lid's all off, and like half your dabs on the lid. So it's so frustrating. So I super appreciate those stores out there that store it refrigerated at all times, and I get to, make it greasy.
Yeah.
So thanks for being here, Kaya, because I really respect you. I love the class that you had up there with Logan, and you're really doing things right on your farm up there, KNF style. Lemon and I were talking about that, how you've switched over, you went back and forth on organics and bottles. You've done it all, right? Kind of up there in your farm.
Yeah. Well, you know, when I the first time I ever planted a seed, we did it like guerrilla style. We went and found a creek up on Blanchard Hill, and planted them, diverted some water and planted them. But once I started like growing indoor, it was hydroponic setups, and general hydro 3-part Lucas formula stuff, and that was before you could really even there was no medical cards to cover your ass, so when you're growing at that point, it was really about making some money and not having to be at the location all the time. I could go and just switch out the res once a week. I was in and out, so there was very little chance of getting caught at that particular garden. As I got older, and really the two impetuses for me getting into the organic stuff was mostly my kids. I didn't want my kids around a hydroponic garden. I wanted them to be able to, be around the garden and not have to worry about them getting into chemicals or harsh stuff. And then, it just worked out really well, coinciding with my breeding program and doing testing on a more level playing field. And then at that point, it was like I wanted to learn more about organics, and it just kind of took me over. I was having stomach ailments and stuff, and I started learning about microbes in my stomach, and then I started learning about microbes in the dirt and how all that relates, and it just snowballed, and now my understanding of it all is at such a heightened level. Once you learn something, you can't go backwards. I can't go back to doing things in an ignorant way. Once you have that knowing, you have to press forward with it and keep on going. And so yeah, I'm in love with soil now. I'm in love with organics. I'm in love with growing food that's feeding me and taking care of my stomach, and I'm very protective of what goes into my body now. You know, I haven't consumed any BHO in years, and you know, that's just kind of it all ties together, you know.
It sure does. And due to individuals like yourselves and Tara and everyone on here, I'm happy, and many other people that I've been seeing that are part of our group are happy to just jump right into living soil and go down the roads that we can. And even on the indoors, implement as much of the natural farming techniques as possible and see the inspiration through all of these separate individuals, and then see the community that's formed from it, and just, you know, the difference as opposed to the holding secrets and the kind of doing things on the DL and the more kind of, you know, chemical based style of things where it's a little bit of the past is what it feels like. But hey, I just like making the community stronger as much as we can.
Yeah, I think everybody's hip to it, you know. I didn't even know about nutrient dense food. I didn't know about, you know, like there was a difference. And but once you know the difference, then you're not going to be fooled anymore, you know. And growing up, you know, when I was getting into the weed game, the guys that had the best weed were the dreadlock dudes. You know, like there was all kinds of kids running around in Honda Civics and shit, you know, throwing beaster ounces out the window for 250. But you know, you needed to know, like there was a cat that sticks out. I still remember the dude. His name was Steven. He was up in Bellingham. He would show up at the parties and DJ, and Steven had the motherfucking chronic. Like nobody had weed half as good as Steven. And I wanted to get close to that. I wanted to know what the fuck Steven was doing that was different from everybody else. And you know, everybody followed that guy around like, you know, just whatever he said, they did. And I want, you know, I took lessons, you know, there's no shame in my game. If somebody's doing it right, I want to know how. And so that, you know, that, let's be honest, right? Like that's what the whole weed thing is pushed on is dank. It's super chronic. Like nobody gets excited for mids. Like I didn't get hooked on weed because I got a bag of swag. You know what I mean? Like I got some stuff that was like, holy fuck, what is this? You know, and it just had the texture and the smell and this effect that just, you know, whoa. And that's what drives this. That's what makes us want to breed new stuff and find new terps and get, you know, it's all related to that upper level of stuff. It's not, you know, nobody gets excited about cigarettes. Nobody gets, you know, Marlboro put out a new unfiltered cigarette. Nobody gives a fuck about that, right? It's not exciting, right? We get excited about terps and about new flavors. And you know, so at the core of that is just dank. And you know, that's all really what we're all hunting. That's what's driving everybody. You know, we want to pull out a bag and have our friends go, holy shit, whoa, you know. And you know, from an economic standpoint, if you've got something like that, you're not going to sit on it. You're not going to have any problem moving it, or you know, if you get stuck with it, you can smoke it, you know. So I prefer, you know, that high grade over work any day. I think
100%, man. And you hit it right on the head, right? Just be humble. Don't let that ego jump in the way, right? If you see someone that inspires you, find out what they're doing. If what they say is 100% against what you're doing, and you could almost take it as insulting, well, it's probably not. You might be doing something wrong. Like, just don't get too convoluted by your own ego and your own opinion to not try something out or hear someone out, because, you know, more times than not, if their product is awesome and they're a good individual, they probably have a lot to give to you, and they're probably not trying to take personal attacks on you.
Yeah, put it out there, give your love away. I don't know, I think we think too much of ourselves anyways, you know, like you gotta laugh at yourself. And you know, we may be holding a vibes and holding a space right now in the weed time zone, but you know, anybody that's doing seeds, you're practicing a livity that stretches back thousands of years. Traders from India and spice traders, and you know, all of that shit has existed for long before us, and we get to ride this wave now, and in another 1,000 years it'll be somebody else riding this wave, and we'll be relics just like the other guys. But you know, let's enjoy it now. Let's do the best we can now. Let's put our mark on it now. And, you know, maybe they'll tell stories about us in the future, but, you know, I don't know if any of that really matters, you know, like as long as we're doing it right and treating each other good along the way, that's okay.
One of these days between me and you, when we have a little chat, I want to talk to you about the Prince of Port Orchard and speaking about laughs. It's just a private thing between me. We'll share it one of these days, guys.
Buddy.
Oh, do any of you breeders have a question for one another? Are there anything like you've been thinking like you might want to talk about? Go ahead, Kaya.
Well, I've seen Blessed Coast on the IG and stuff, but I don't know too much about the Hydran, and I'd love to hear where you're at, what you're doing. And sorry I came in late, but
That's totally cool, because the other thing I that brought me up is like, because Hoko was talking about his name, so it would be really cool to hear how Blessed Coast came up with his name, right? So that would lead right into that. Perfect. Go ahead.
Yeah, bless up, man. I think me and you have met a few times. You probably just don't recognize me because I'm usually like rolling around in a wheelchair and you just don't see it on the screen. So, but yeah, we met a couple times, man. And yeah, bro, I just been making seeds and trying to grow as much as I can. Trying to make it all go, man. You know, same as always.
what I don't want to dox you, but is this Titan?
Yeah, bro.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Sweet. Okay, a connection.
Small world,
I
huh?
changed my name
Cool.
because there was another Titan out there, and like I kind of, you know me, I was kind of like not really putting myself out there like that. So I didn't want to kind of bite on, you know, his whole thing, and so I was like, you know, I'm just gonna do me. And then, you know, I had West Coast Herbs at 502 for a while, and my buddy Bobo always used to say, well, West Coast to Blessed Coast, and I was like, all right, man, I'm just gonna have to run with this. So I
I
just
love it.
West Coast, you know.
Awesome, man. Good to see you.
You too, man.
And who's the other brethren down here? The I'm guessing is a Canadian because it says Canuck.
So Kaya, this is 710 Connect. He actually and I met, and we actually got the Congo from Vision Creator. 710 is the one's responsible for handing it out in Canada, and I was the one that brought it down to Kevin Jodry and passed it on to Dutch Blooms.
Okay,
And
sweet.
that. So we
Yes.
both kind of passed the Vision Creator on from both of us. We went and hooked up and met up Vision Creator up in Canada, and 710's going to school. So 710, go ahead and tell them about yourself a little bit and about your seed
And what you're
drops.
doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got injured a couple years back, and instead of stopping, yeah, I just kept moving forward, trying to do something else. I was a carpenter for a long time, so yeah, I got into growing cannabis, and from there I found my passion. Basically went full time into that. Got into university, busted my ass to do that. Now in my final year of university, studying, going for a Bachelor of Science, but focusing on genetics, botany, and entomology, trying to get the whole spectrum as well as plant pathology. Yeah, just really, just, you know, I want to, when I'm breeding something, I just want to breed it for something that I know, you know. I know chronic pain, I know chronic fatigue, so that's what I go for. I know people with cancer, so that's what I'm going for. I really like the medical aspect of the whole cannabis. It changed my life. I was basically relegated to opiates, you know. They were like, this is going to be your life. And got back onto the cannabis, and from there, yeah, here I am, just meeting amazing people, getting these connections. Like I said earlier, I haven't bought many packs of seeds just because so many amazing people have shared their genetics or old school genetics with me. That's kind of my focus, is the line race stuff, or, you know, heirloom. Just the stuff that's been around for a long time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And you've been so patient. Sorry, go ahead.
We just sent some packs up to Roberts Creek.
Oh, fantastic.
Some folks up there that had helped me get some things down from that conference.
Oh, nice.
That's where I met.
Yeah.
Hey, Kaya,
Vision Creator was really amazing. He did a little seed swap. He stood up and had some really dope words to share with us.
It was because I had went up there with 710 and met Vision Creator that I was able to get Vision to come to that conference. And Vision said, I want to be there. I want to come give out seeds. And so I said, come on, Vision, come on over. So yeah, I invited him to the conference, and I was super happy he showed up. That's when he brought the clones to me. And that's when I took him home and brought him down. So I was super proud to be able to be a part of that. And 710.
Yeah. Speaking of that,
S1.
Yeah.
What does that mean for people who don't know what a S1 is?
So yeah, I selfed the Roberts Creek Congo. So just reversed it using silver thiosulfate, because that thing is pretty much rock solid. It will not harm. I've been growing it for a long time, and I've stressed it out in every single way you can think of, and it has not produced one flower that I have ever seen. So yeah, we S1'd it, and I sent him all the seeds, and yeah, I think he's going to be getting those out to people relatively soon. But yeah.
Hey, Kai, I had a long chat with 710. He knows his shit, man.
I was gonna say he's super patient. There's like a large group of us that are always asking him questions and asking him the same questions and getting him to go over things. And you're super patient. You got a great way of explaining stuff, and you never belittle anyone. So thanks again, 710.
I mean, we all come from different levels of, like different spots, right? Not just different levels of education. Like up until I started university, I didn't have my high school. I didn't have a high school diploma. I went back, finished that, then went to university. So this has been a long run for me, and I'm almost at the end here.
Good job. Good job putting in the work, because it's not easy, especially to go back and do all that and then to come out as humble and as awesome as you are, plus the injury and everything. Like it's a fantastic story. So
we suck.
Can't wait to get you back on here and get the 710 rundown and story and talk a little bit more about everything you're doing. Pry your brain a bit more.
Sounds good.
Yeah, you know what? I think each one of these breeders deserve a breeder slot where they can sit here and talk. There's so much information being shared here. I don't know how we could cram it all in a short session,
Anyone that wants to come on is always welcome here.
Well, and that's exactly what I was just going to say, LemonHoko. This is just the start, I think, of a great community here, just meeting, greeting everybody here and bringing, at least a lot of the Pacific Northwest people together. And bridging those gaps between, Canada and the United States. I've been hanging out with a lot of Canadian friends, and there's no reason that we can't all work together and unite as a community around this plant and heal the community and also heal the planet. And Kaya, you're just always so humbling and just so cool to speak with. I had the opportunity, to record that conference up there at BC when I was with, Vision Creator, and put it out on the internet. And it's so amazing to be able to pass that information on for free. And that's kind of why I started my YouTube channel, was kind of just to get that information out to my friends, for free, because there's a lot of people that need this information that can't afford it, that can't leave their homes, that can't travel up there to those places. And so I really thank you guys for sharing information today. I really do. So is there any... Go ahead.
Questions here.
Is there more questions?
Asking if there's anywhere to find 710 Genetics up in Canada. And then we've also got someone asking, how do you reverse a plant you want to save after flowering? So I'm going to go ahead and imagine they're talking about re-vegging. So if anyone wants to step on that, as well as your genetics 710, if you want to touch on that first, if they're available or not.
They're not really quite available. I mean, the S1 Congo S1s will be available, but not directly through me. I don't know. Yeah. But
yeah,
as for...
okay, so Vision Creator's getting some stuff set up right now, and they are going to do a seed drop, and they're going to announce that shortly. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah, follow Vision Creator. He'll you'll find it.
Yeah.
He's the shit. Don't tell him I said that though.
What was the other question, Drake? Who did you want to take that?
Anyone that wants to jump on. I believe they're just asking about a simple re-veg, but I'm not positive. They're asking on how to, just to re-veg it. That's all they're wondering. Jump on a re-veg.
CL Chronic, do you re-veg a lot? You want to go ahead and take that one?
Yeah. Basically, it's just due to a light cycle. I mean, sometimes when you have issues or things arise, problems arise, pests, things that you don't, even with a steady IPM, you can have things that come in if you give garden tours or things. But a lot of time it's just due to light cycle. So when I have a specific plan, if I, especially for males, I like to re-veg them and actually see how fast that they can regenerate new branching. And that actually is something that I indicate towards. It's one of the factors that decides whether or not they're, breedable or not. If a male stays in flower for an extended period of time, or if he actually flowers off early and kind of has that pre-jizz, and generally seems like they have a lot more hermaphroditic rates. It's just like solid, consistent males looking for, genetic stability just through certain stress tests that we've done over time when we didn't have genetic testing available, like qPCRs and genomics and things of that nature, which you can kind of play into now, it seems like. But it's all due to light cycles. So basically, I run mine either under a 24-0 or a 24 light cycle. A lot of times, males will be in there. I'll pull females late in the flower as well, just to kind of see if I find a keeper on something when I'm doing a massive seed run. And if I didn't, clones didn't take or something happened, then I'll try and re-veg a plant, and generally seeing how long it takes. But a lot of time people become impatient, and it's just treating it like it's going back in the veg, dumping some nitrogen into it, and then just kind of waiting for the new growth to restart. A lot of the time I do it with clones too. I like to take clones first 2 weeks in the flowers. I'll leave lowers on and kind of lollipop everything up. And when you throw those in, I guess monster cropping is a terminology people throw around nowadays, but it's just essentially re-vegging a clone, and it tends to lead to more branching on it. So if you're growing for, clones to throw in a room for yield, it tends to have a little better result as well. A little fact for everybody. Tip of the day.
Well, there you go. That's how a basic question turns into an awesome 3 answers. That was cool. Cool little.
Yeah, that's awesome. So it is. I just want to let everybody know it is like 11:24. If anybody really did have to jump out, do you guys want to keep it going for another half hour? Or do you guys want to jump out and we'll plan the next one?
I got 5 I can stay on for.
You got 5. Okay.
We're already happy. We got
questions?
you for an extra
Okay,
half.
we got 5 more minutes. Who's got some questions to drill Seattle with?
I just want to input something real quick. To be a good breeder, you have to be an excellent grower, because there's no way to judge your traits of your plant unless you know how to grow your plants to full expression. Every one of us, every one of the people here, I respect as a grower, on top of being a good breeder also.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing as well, is just making sure before, if anybody wants to fray into, breeding, it's just getting an understanding of your plants over time. I mean, getting to know what expressions, what, structures, what colors. I mean, just kind of getting an ideal and, just an outcome basically, and then starting small. I mean, everybody starts kind of chucking and getting an understanding of things, but it seems like a lot of the people on the panel here, especially with scientific education, I'm really enjoying to see kind of the new level of breeder. It's like, it's a lot more of a scientific.
Oh, we lost you quickly again, Seattle. I'm not sure if you're getting us on your end, but I'm sure you'll be back any second here.
I just muted his camera. Give him just a minute.
Exactly. We do also have one other question, though. We've got Dab PIY asking, what is the spray to reverse a male to female? I know there's quite a few, but what did you just mention?
Are you back? Just a minute. Are you back, Seattle? Seattle, are you back? Yeah. There you go. Okay, so go ahead.
What is the spray to reverse a male to female? Is a question we just got. If you want to hit that, Seattle.
Absolutely. Silver thiphosphate solution, 710 mention. That's generally my go-to. There's gilibaric acid as well, and then high concentrated colloidal silver. I've used all of them, and I tend to find the best rates with STS, silver thiphosphate solution, and it's relatively easy to do. I believe I have something on my feed. If not, I'll probably do it again on Instagram. I'll just mix up a batch and show everybody how to do it at home. It's just making a 2-part solution. You can buy everything off Amazon. It's mostly storage, honestly. Once you make it and you make the 2-part V to A solution, it's got 30 days of it. And so you have to start spraying your plant. And usually you start a week or 2 before flower. If you want to reverse something, generally just spray the branch sites I tend to do it every 5 days. You can do 5 to 7, but I run every 5, and then just give about a week, week and a half, maybe 2, and then spray it consistently in the flower. About week 3, you should have a reversal showing pretty nicely.
Awesome. Thanks for answering that question. Matt, 710, did you have anything to touch on that? I know you do a lot of reversal.
No, that you nailed it.
Okay.
The only thing that I'd add on there is I like to keep the female, or put the male in, or the prospective male into flower like a week or 2 before I put the actual females in. It kind of just gives a chance for the pollen to develop and drop. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And we briefly touched on gibberellic acid as well for it. I know you've brought that up a couple times, 710. What do you generally use that for? What do you like it for?
Yeah, gibberellic acid in combination with STS is actually, it really speeds up your time. I found one paper, I think it was 4 times faster for on a hemp crop for the male flowers to actually develop. So I tried that out. First time I ran it, a little heavy on the gibberellic acid ppm, but so I got a little bit of crazy stretch, but it was way faster. I just got to dial that back a little. But yeah, gibberellic acid, basically the with the silver thiosulfate and the colloidal silver, you're just blocking the production of ethylene. With the gibberellic acid, you're kind of overpowering the the plant with exogenous like male chemicals, because in a male, when a male goes into flower, it produces a lot more gibberellic acid and ethylene goes down. When a female goes into flower, it's kind of the opposite. Ethylene goes up, gibberellic acid goes down. So you can kind of, trick it with that. But I definitely like the STS, silver thiosulfate.
Thank you, as always, 710. Getting into it and giving us the DL on the back end, on the science.
Yeah, hey, I've only ever done one feminized breeding. And we sprayed the spray, and then the guy that was helping me, he basically said that the G acid was basically will help, right? Because the ball sets had already come on, but they weren't opening.
Yeah.
And it was basically that GB was the component that was going to get them to open and release the pollen. Because you can get them to flip, but maybe they don't open their sacs.
Exactly.
And then you've got kind of done half the job, but you got to hit them with that GB to get them to open up. Yeah.
Yeah, because that gibberellic acid, it's one of these triggers for cell elongation, not necessarily cell like multiplication, but like they stretch. It actually stretches each individual cell instead of making more cells. So yeah, it's one of those things. If your buds are so tight, you can spray it with some gibberellic acid and it'll cause those cells to stretch and you're good to go.
I believe I recall you talking about using it for your initial seed soak or a quick seed dunk.
Yeah, you can definitely use it as a seed soak on gibberellic acid, really low ppms for like old seeds. You can even use it on newer seeds if you're worried, but it's basically just as water gets into the seed, as the seed imbibes, it starts to release gibberellic acid and into the proteins of the cotyledons, and that's what breaks down the proteins into sugars, and then you get a lot more plant growth really quickly. So yeah, you can, if you're tricking it with the gibberellic acid, you're getting that kickstart a lot faster.
Kaya, when you're reversing the Chem 4 back a dozen years ago, messing around with that project, I was doing the same. I was kind of playing around with the reversal on the Chem double Ds. What agent were you using for a reversal? I thought you were using colloidal silver at the time.
You know what? I didn't use anything. I was just using stress. I was using stress to flip the female. Okay. I didn't have the knowledge to do anything else. So yeah, I just stressed the female out, and that's what happened. And then I harvested the pollen from that. So that's something else that I don't know if anybody pointed out, but you don't want to pollinate the same plant that you're collecting the pollen from. You want to, whatever the female is that you're flipping, use that pollen on a non-stressed female to create your seeds. If you get it on the same plant, the seeds from the same plant that you've stressed, those are going to have a much higher likelihood of being hermaphrodite and not giving you what you want.
Yeah, particularly when you're using like that technique, stressing, I believe it's called rotalization. But yeah, when you're inducing stress in a plant, that intersex trait that comes out is because it's there in the genetics and it responds to those stressors. So breeding like with like, you're going to have more intersex traits that are going to come out when these stressors come out. That's
Yeah,
why I really like the STS. It's not a stress. It just takes away something that it needs to produce the female flowers.
Yeah, I was going to mention that because that's a huge misconception with people. They think that when they have a hermaphrodite in their room, that when they grow those seeds out, that they're just growing feminized seed. But what they don't realize is they're growing from a stress hermaphrodite, which is different than the hermaphrodite you get when you induce it with these chemicals that you guys are talking about.
Big time.
Totally. And like you're saying there, 710 with the Congo, you said you couldn't make it herm. If
Yeah,
that's the whole point of part of the.
I don't know if anybody else has been able to do that. I've never seen it. I've stressed it so bad, like by accident many times, but on purpose a couple times. And yeah, I've never seen one nanner on the entire plant.
That's a right?
Yeah, that's a landrace. It's a pure African sativa.
Because usually hermaphrodism develops in wild type. It becomes the wild type in the cross because it's trying to continue itself in a harsh environment. So it's interesting that plant selected against having the ability to be able to do that. I've always thought that was something.
It also does have to do with the amount of males that do come into the population. If you have enough males for that genetic variation to keep coming up, you're gonna breed out those intersex traits. Well, not necessarily breed out, but they'll get suppressed more by the continuous dropping of seeds, next generation dropping of seeds with that male pollen. And that's what a lot of people are trying to do with a lot of the polyhybrids, trying to breed that out, right?
You're saying with an increase in the Y chromosome, right?
Sorry?
There'll be an increase in the Y chromosome in the gene pool, so there just won't be as much of that allele running around in the.
Not necessarily the Y chromosome, but variation, like just variation, because like even selfing a plant, like S1ing a plant, there's going to be variation in that next generation, just because it's nature, right? Unless you're making like a double haploid, then you're not going to have any variation after that. But yeah, it's just how nature is. We're going to have always going to have variation. There's going to be some outliers that pop out.
Life finds
Yeah, exactly. And then you have mutation. You have environments. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you got it.
Here's a question I got for Doc D, because he deals with a lot of strains, landrace strains and stuff. Just a quick question, Doc. Do you see an increased ratio of hermaphroditic tendencies in these landrace strains versus the strains that have been worked? What's your experience been?
It all depends on how close to the source it is. If you are growing something that's really close to the source, guaranteed you have to go through a lot of stuff. The modern gene pool is, depending on who you're getting it from and what the genetics are, pretty clean. But it's interesting that we breed away from hermaphrodites, but yet so many clones have been found from Hermes. So we're in a really weird dilemma that we like to use some of these plants, but yet the tendencies might be linked to some of our favorite traits.
That's the thing.
Like smoke is like Hermes fucking plants.
That's the thing. We don't know what these traits are linked to, and they're likely polygenic. We not just one specific set of alleles is causing hermaphroditic traits. It's probably multiple sets of alleles throughout the genome. So,
say that too.
But if we put like a statistical ratio to everything, if you look at all the epic strains that were produced or found through hermaphroditic tendencies, there's got to be a correlation there of tendency. You know what I mean? There's got to be something there to where these Hermes are just a little bit better than the normal flower. Whether in terpenes,
it might just be more though, because there's going to be right now. There's not that many people that are really putting in the work that you guys are doing that really understand it down to the core compound, so you can really work the stuff for what it is and actually know what's going on there. So take it back 20 years, so on and so forth. Everyone's just working with stuff. If you had a plant that gave you some seeds, well, that's a good thing. All of a sudden now you're in production, right? You're in business now. So it's like there wasn't many people working it out. And then you find that odd bag seed that happens to herm, and you get this amazing plant and you clone it. And now you're able to run with something that's not showing those tendencies if you take it down early week 8 or something super early, like all this stuff advises. And you can run with it. So now we really have to just take those same things and get them in the hands of people like yourselves, and then work with those for a few generations and get rid of that stuff, or really, lessen it. Like 710 was saying prior, like get other things into there, work stuff up, work that out. Breeder talk,
I think on the intersex traits and having like really good bud. I think one of the things you can kind of attribute that to is just increasing, because you're inbreeding the plant with itself, so you're increasing the homozygous alleles throughout the plant, which is going to express more stuff, right? You're gonna get more expressions out of the plant. So I don't necessarily think it's like the hermaphrodism more than the actual genetic expression available.
I
But
think
here's where a couple of runs that I made with a couple of different crosses, the flowers that were normal seemed to be kind of above average to average. But I had a couple that were like, oh my God, look at the crystals on that. Let's smell this. And then I look under it and it's like, oh shit, balls. The ones that were just totally epic had balls. So that it made me think maybe there's a correlation here.
Maybe an overexpression in a certain set of genes in a certain area that happens to also be overexpressing gibberellic acid, for instance, or underexpressing ethylene.
It might be interesting for the future generation to dip into the correlation. I mean, there seems to be something there if you look at the history of what we have as epic strains,
Mm-hmm.
The interesting thing about cannabis is that it actually has X and Y chromosomes, which a lot of plants don't. And they haven't really done a lot of research on plants that have both of those, and they're just now starting to, and they're actually going to be using cannabis as one of the plants they really study. I know they are at my university, for seeing traits that pass on with, X and Y. So that's going to be really something that I think we find out more about here pretty soon.
Yeah, we've got a pretty solid hemp breeding program up here as well. Apparently we got perfect breeding weather for northern hemp varietals.
I mean, this topic, this little breed, like I said, this could go on for like 6 hours. So much shit that we could cover, huh? Just sitting there talking. And it's really.
And I was
cool
supposed to leave like 10 minutes ago.
I know. I was just gonna say Seattle. How are you doing, Seattle?
I'm good. I'm enjoying the conversation, like everybody's input and stuff. This is like one of the best roundtables I've been able to have with people.
Me too.
Mad love and respect to everybody here. I'm really enjoying the conversation.
Awesome.
Let's do it again. Let's do it again in the future.
Well, yeah. So let's plan this for next Saturday, LemonHoko. I think we've been kind of talking about that in the back room here a little bit. We're going to try and have a little connection for breeders to come and chat that want to share information or want to talk to one another. Just open the room up and see who wants to come in and communicate with the community, and let us get to know you. Like, let us know why we want to support you. Let us know why we want to see your genetics out there. Show us your genetics. We've gotten a lot of views. We continue to get more views every day. We continue to get new subscribers every day. Thank you all, by the way, for all the subscribers that we've gotten on this channel. And get over to LemonHoko's Discord. He has seed releases on there that to you. Oh my God, there's so much knowledge over there. Like, there's no way I'm even going to get even like part of the way through all that over there. Lemon, go ahead and talk about your Discord a little bit. Oh, well, and look at that. Someone's got a guitar. Are you going to play us?
We're going to get played out today, are we?
Oh, man.
Oh, man. He's so talented. But the Discord channel is where I call it my home base. And this is kind of where I hang out. And I like to have one-on-one with each one of these breeders, except for CL Chronic, which I hope I can change that in the near future, have been on my show. And I've been able to sit down and have a good long session with them. To really get to know them. And I have them on, not just once, but I'll have them on periodically to keep in touch, to let you know what's going on with the genetics and stuff. And it's just not my genetics that you can obtain there on the site. There's some rare stuff. stuff with some epic breeders that you probably haven't heard about or you've seen the names and stuff. They're dropping their testers there too, right, Two-Tone? But yeah, it's been a good format. It's really a cool format to be able to sit here and talk to like-minded people and all the people that I respect in this industry, and hopefully this can grow and keep positive. And what's cool about this whole thing is everybody is on a positive vibe here. There's no negativity like in the old breeders forums that you guys know what I'm talking about, where it's all really.
It was all bash, and then
Yeah.
now it's just another gold mine
good
of information
karma.
over there.
Good karma, good energy attracts one another, y'all.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you all hanging in here today. Did you have any last questions? And do you want to sum it up, and you want to try and maybe hook up next Saturday and then keep little shorter panels, or do you guys want to go a little bit longer? I'm going to leave it to you. What do you want to do, Hoko and Doc D? Where are you at?
What'd be cool is if we had an open invitation for like an hour, we can add new breeders that we throw them invitations and they just jump in like an ongoing type of session. I'm sure Kai is busy, but when he can find time, he can jump in on a session, on a chat. And I think it would really benefit a lot of the farmers, the new breeders and so forth to pick up this information like this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So are you saying you want to drop the Zoom chat in and like once a week to have a whole bunch of new people to come in and join? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, let's do that. Like an open breeders coffee session where we're sitting here smoking and just talking about
Sure.
breeding.
Do you want to do it right after the show, or are you talking like you want to do it on a different day and a different time?
Oh, let's keep this time slot. This works for me.
Okay, so we'll just drop the link, and anybody that wants to come on and talk about breeding can come on and talk about breeding next week. We're going to try and start a little bit earlier. I think we're going to try and start at 9:30. So see you sometime around 9:30 to 10 o'clock, depending on technical difficulties, of course.
Kai, it's been a blessing to see you again, brother. And I got to make it out to see you here pretty soon. My dad passed away a couple of weeks ago, so I've been kind of tied up with all that. So I'll be out to see you real soon.
Anytime, no, you're welcome. And good to see you guys, Titan. Woo! Doc D, I haven't seen you in a minute, man. Great to meet you, 710. And Tara Lee, always thank you. I remember you talking about how you wanted to do something for the community and you didn't know kind of what your place was, and look at you. You found a place, you put some effort into this platform, and you've brought in some good folks, drawing them in with your vibes. So big up yourself. I'm gonna go make some breakfast for the youth.
Much respect.
Kaya.
Thank you, Kaya.
Be safe, buddy.
Have an awesome day. Wow, what a great panel, you guys, this morning. I really appreciate you all jumping in here this morning.
It was fun.
Doc D, where are you sitting in Blessed Coast Seeds? Do you want to spend another half hour here, 20 minutes? Or do you guys want to?
I gotta bounce out, but I'd love to come back next time for sure. Get a little.
You're definitely welcome.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, guys. I really appreciate it.
Great
Good
to meet
to
you.
meet everybody.
Nice to meet you. Thanks
really
for coming
enjoyed
on.
It was good to meet you, man.
Yeah,
I've been a fan of your work, dude. It's awesome to actually put a face to it, man. It's
Yeah.
Oh, no shit. You guys haven't had a sesh yet? Oh, we got to change that here pretty soon.
We just did.
Yeah, I've grown a lot of Bodie gear and I think I've grown some of your gear too, man. It'd be awesome to link up and talk about it sometime, man.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
No, I'd like to do this again. So thank you so much.
Yeah. Stay blessed, bro.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
Definitely welcome back. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
West Coast, thank you. That's awesome. Go ahead.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you. That was awesome.
Appreciate you.
Very cool.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Titan, for being here. I know the personal struggles that you go through just to get out of bed in the morning, and I feel that we're all blessed that you're here to be able to share your knowledge, your experience that you've been through, and not a lot of people know this, and he doesn't talk about it a lot. But Subcool took him under his wing like a little brother, and that's how I met him. And he's gained a lot of experience from a lot of good breeders in this, and he's applying it. And not only that, he went to school for it, and he's going to school for it. So the dude's just growing every day, and I see a big future in you, Titan. So keep it up, man. Hopefully we'll see you here soon again.
And we'd
Yeah.
love
You gotta
to
drop
get you
by.
back
You
on
gotta
and
drop
hear
by.
about your story.
Let me know when you're in town again.
Yeah, I appreciate everything you've always done for me, man. And you are really the master, the wizard, man. So, it's just, we're just lucky to have you, man. And I'm just lucky to see you again and experience you, man. So thank you for that. Appreciate you.
Like I said, man, you got to drop in on the farm. I don't know. I don't think you've been here. Oh shit, my cat knocked
Not
my
too
camera off.
fast. I don't think so. Nothing new fast.
Yeah,
But
we got to
here,
get you here.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll have to get together. I got some cool things for you, man. I got that Schramm going. So that should
Heard
be
nothing. Oh man, I heard nothing about good things about that shrimp. That'd be cool. I'd like to taste her and see what she's all about. And I got some things, some nice gifts back for you too. We've been talking.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna do this 91 cross with the Atom Splitter and the Chem D, and I'm gonna hit it to Chem 4, and I'm gonna hit it to AJ Sour, and I'm gonna hit it to the GG4 Archive cut, and then hopefully the GG4 Colin cut. If I can link up with Two Tone. So I'm gonna have a bunch of really fuely, super skunky crosses, you know. So
Oh man, that's magic. You should get more of that, more of your genetics out there, bro. People need to grow and smoke your stuff.
man, I just want to put out something that's not the same and special, you know. That's the whole idea, you know. I could throw out 100 seeds, but or 100 strains, or you know, varietals, whatever, but it's
See,
better.
that's what you're gonna see amongst this crowd here. We're not quick on the polyhybrid drops and stuff. Everybody here works their strains, and it takes a little while to work your strains. But when you get them, you know that pass through you know, some testing and stuff.
Yeah, testing. That's the whole thing.
That's the magic word in this industry, isn't it? Testing, and that's what separates breeders from seed makers. You know, basically pollen checkers.
It sure does. And all right, Seattle, he's hopping off. So if you want to
Oh
get
man,
any
it's
quick
been a
plugs in
blessing.
or whatnot, feel free. But we were super blessed to have you on. You're welcome back anytime. As always, it's been a pleasure. And don't go too crazy in that 800 horsepower fucking
Yeah, be safe.
Cobra
in
you're
that
driving.
thing. Yeah,
I will not enjoy today. I'm gonna take it easy. I think I got to go pick my kid up, but I just want to thank everybody, and especially Lem. Thank you so much for having me, man. It was good actually getting to connect, and we'll definitely talk about Discord and get stuff settled up there. So I'm very stoked just to get on the panel with all you 710. It's a pleasure to officially meet you. Your knowledge is going to be a great tool to the community. It's good to
Appreciate that, man.
put things down, and
Yeah,
I
great to see you guys.
sometimes I have a problem with like scientific terminology, and it's so good to hear the actual like how it's pronounced. And I'm like, damn, I've been brutalizing that word for like 2 years. I appreciate it.
No worries, no worries. I mean, that's one of the things with the sciences. They kind of try and make stuff sound like. I mean, Latin was basically if you wanted to learn science, you had to learn Latin back in the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the way they keep everybody out. But don't worry about it. Everybody has trouble with these words. You should see me murder some insect names.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, it just kind of goes with the trade, but I mean, it was really cool. Just getting to hear your background and stuff. And I mean, same with everybody here, Blessed Coast. It's nice to actually get to meet you formally. And like, I know we've met before, and you said the Seattle market is the funny thing. I used to go there all the fucking time. The farmers market, depends on which one, but both of them in Seattle and Tacoma. And so that's why I think a lot of the old market days and stuff like that, that's where I think I definitely recognize you now. That when you said that, I was like, ah, shit, it was at the market. I know for
That's what
sure.
I was thinking too, because I was like, I know I was like, he's been doing it for longer than just a little while. Because
yeah, I've been at the markets for quite a few times. It was always different booths, or you know, in the back areas where you'd have the throw ups and stuff. But I'd be at different places all the time. So man, it's good to actually. It's like now I actually know who you are.
you too. I know I've ran something from you before, but it was so long ago. I just don't remember what it was. But I've been also doing a bunch of Red Eye here too. So that's cool that you linked up with Red Eye, because man, I've been running a lot of that stuff too. And he's like kind of underrated, I feel like.
I probably the most, honestly, besides all the panel here today that I've seen. You guys are very underrated and need to get your gear out as well, just because it's good to have a fresh talk with people who understand, you know, the actual genetic play of things, and have an intended outcome, and really have foresight as to what we're here to do individually. It's like our own artist expression, and it's just nice to get to see everyone else that's so like-minded and has, you know, the same heart and the same pains that we've all built from, to, you know, try and share our love with the world for something that we find, you know, a little relief in. And you know, sometimes I like to do it because I hurt so bad. It's like, to change somebody else's day means the world to me, because I can't change my day. So if I can change somebody else's day, it means the world to me.
We're with you there. We're with you there. And that's
And
all.
on that note, you know what? I
Well
just have to
said.
say boom Shiva to
Well
Vision
said.
Creator out there and to all my friends that are in chat, because I see somebody saying boom Shiva, boom belay to all of you out there. I'm going to take a nice rip. And do you want to just close it all down? Tell people how they find you, Seattle Chronic, one more time, and then we'll bring it back around, and then we'll close it down. And we will be back on definitely next Saturday with LemonHoko. So stay tuned. So go ahead, Seattle.
So you can find me at seattlechronic.seeds.com, my official website, which needs to be updated. Pretty much most of my content is on Instagram at Seattle Chronic Seeds. You can also find my gear in a variety of seed banks. Seeds Here Now, Regenerative Seed Company, which is Josh Rutherford, Dutch Blooms' company. My shout out to him as well. He's been amazing. Golden Ticket Seed Company, Hoku Seed Company. Hoku is a really good friend. He's a hemp farmer down here that's been focusing on CBG, heavy cultivars. And then DC Seed Exchange as well. The Seed Connection just picked up a new drop, and then I'll have a new one going out to another bank, which I'll announce pretty shortly. I've been working on some new gear for the past 2 years, which I'm going to be dropping here. So look at Instagram for that.
Now,
drop.
are people allowed to buy direct from you at all? Because that's the question that some
Wholesale,
people
I
ask.
generally don't do direct to consumers anymore, just because my time's generally with auctions or gardening. Like I help for benefit charities or things, and so I won't, maybe wholesale orders or commercial account, like I'll do stuff like that. But a lot of time I just direct you to the seed banks. They price everything's under usually $80 a pack is what I keep my seeds at. I mean, I've had a lot of people tell me to charge more, but I feel like an affordable pack for people. So every
how
single
many is
bank,
in a pack?
12, usually 12-ish. Sometimes I'll throw in a few more, but at least 12 seeds.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you for being on today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, and I look forward to talking to you guys again shortly.
Awesome. Thank you.
Great chat.
All right, Bless Cuss, how does everybody find you and get a hold of you? And is there anything you want to touch on today?
No, I just appreciate you for having me on. If you want to find some seeds, I usually don't release that many, but if you want to find them, they're going to be probably exclusively on Mel's Discord server. You can probably find the information for that pretty easily. And then I got a little section in there and you can find them. Going to be dropping a lot of test seeds soon, like a lot. And I'm hoping I can find some reliable testers and, you know, just some people that actually are willing to grow them out quickly and give me some information back, because it's just impossible for me to grow them all out myself. And I refuse to sell them to anybody else unless they've been grown out a lot so we can see what's inside of them. So if you want to find them, they're going to be on Discord. And yeah, thank you for having me on.
So a quick question for you. I like that you touched on testers. Can you define what you would want a tester to be like? Like, what are you looking for in a tester for people who are new?
Really just grow the seeds out in a timely manner, and any information you can send me back, whether it's just a sentence or two, is more than, you know, I get, you know, from nothing, you know. And so preferably pictures, updates, just your experience, you know, any information really is valuable. So it's when you send seeds out to people and it becomes part of a collection that it's kind of like, because I spent a lot of time trying to make these seeds. I mean, this is like, you know, my whole life making these seeds. And so if I don't get the information back, I can't really continue forward with what I'm working on. And so that's pretty frustrating, you know, especially when I put my money and time into it and people don't come through on their end. So that's always a little, you know, it's part of the game, you know. And like, for me, if I just give you seeds as a blessing, I don't care if you ever grow them or not. That's not a big deal to me or not. I like blessing everybody I can with as much as I can, you know. But if you can always share something back, then that's like a huge reward for me, because actually the best part of making these seeds is seeing people grow out something that makes them happy. You know, that's kind of like the reason why we do it. It's why we do any art, is because we want somebody to, you know, find joy in it. So if somebody finds some joy in it, then that's cool too. But if I give you something, say, hey, please test it for me, that's like really what I want. It's just some information back from you in a timely manner, you know?
Very well said.
Yeah, that was perfect. I love it. Thank you for being here again today. I appreciate it. LemonHoko.
Well, I just wanted to put in a little bit of what add to what Bless Coast said. In this industry, when I first started, we sent a lot, and I'm sure 710 is probably running into a lot of that too. But we sent a lot of testers out and never got anything back for it. And we're talking hundreds and hundreds of dollars in postage. And after a while, you get burnt and start feeling kind of harsh to sending testers out. But my format on Discord, we have a lot of good farmers that are responsible and they'll follow through. And if they don't, they get banned. We don't keep people like that just want to grab seeds. So it is a screening process, but the people that are left are responsible and they do test and they post their testings. And I welcome any serious farmer that is in chat that wants to test. We have several different breeders that are dropping testers constantly. So there's a good variety of testers to jump on. I just ask people to follow through with your commitment to the breeder. There's a lot of freebies that are dropped too on the server. And those are freebies. You don't have to test them or pop them at whatever, but when you do sign up for testing, we actually depend on your garden space. So it's really important that you follow through.
And if you're new to Discord, it is a little confusing. So let us know and reach out to us on Instagram if you're having trouble, because we really would like you to get on there and get that information if you're interested. If not, you can always just contact us on Instagram, of course. 710, love hanging with you today. How does everybody find you? And do you have any final things you want to sum up today, what we talked about?
I just feeling pretty good today. Doing good. It's a gorgeous day. Everybody's happy. Everybody's got to chat with some really cool people. Yeah, I mean, on the tester side of things, I love just giving out seeds. But yeah, of course, if somebody's, not speaking for myself, because I usually just give them away. But if somebody's saying, here's a tester seed, at least you can do is just go, hey, they were good. I liked them. They look like this. I took a picture. Check it out. Yeah.
Because we all know you take pictures of your weed, people.
Everybody
Come
takes
on.
pictures. Look at
You're
my
taking testers.
Instagram
I
there.
imagine you should do a couple pictures in veg, at least a few pictures in flower, and some stem rubs. Give it a little bit of love, and maybe even ask the person, "Hey, what would you like? What would you expect out of this?" before you sign up for their stuff, or at least after. At least try and work with them, because same thing, like they're saying, they're depending on your space. They're putting all this work in. They're giving you stuff that other people are charging $9 million a seed for free, just for you to try it out for them. So you might as well do that for them.
If you're gonna agree to it, just follow through. It's your name, right? Like, we all have a name in this industry, and people will catch on if you're just scrounging for free things. So
yeah. And saying about your name, what's cool is I've seen some really epic breeders start off as testers, and they post their stuff, and all of a sudden they get elevated. The people know them, and it's just really cool to see good testers make something out of themselves.
Yeah. When you get to work with a bunch of different varietals and a bunch of cool stuff that somebody else felt worthy to make into a seed form for you, it's 2 feet of snow. Yeah, we're freezing over here.
What a better way to learn how to become a breeder too, is test out everybody else's gear and let them know how they did, and really understand why they bred it or what they bred it to. I think that's super important, and not just be throwing this pollen around. Pollen chucking, that we call it, huh?
Well, speaking of that, Tara, that was my
Yes.
first step into the breeding scene. Was I became a tester for some well-known breeders like Cali Connection, Subcool. I tested for Subcool for a couple of years. I tested for Motor Rebel, and that gave me a wide range of what they were looking for as a breeder, because you communicate with them and stuff. So it really does build a good base for you if you want to get into the breeding game. Just help the breeders out, get the insight of what they're doing.
Very cool. Thanks for your input today, Hoko.
Well,
Drake, do you want to sum anything up today, Drake?
No, I think this has been fantastic. I think we've done a great job for just being kind of a free balling episode and bringing people up on the fly. Like, thanks again to Lemon. I'll say that for sure, for getting everyone to come here. Thanks again, Blessed Coast. We'd love to have you on again, as we said before, hear your story. But no, it's been fantastic. We've had so many little heater tips and tricks and stuff come up, and gone over some of the basics. So I can't wait for this to be a bit more of a regular thing. And for us to keep doing what we can to provide the information. So thanks again. And Tara, I'll let you close it out. Make sure to
All
check
right.
out Tara Lee Live.
Well,
Thumbs up,
stay tuned,
subscribe.
you all, because we didn't drop the bomb earlier today, but we are also going to be live tomorrow morning. Might be live with Dragonfly around 9:30. We have a group of panel coming in, an open panel tomorrow. It's going to be surprise guests coming in. We also might have a pajama party tonight on D420K's channel. We got onesies, we got bedtime stories and bong rips. So look forward to some OG stories coming out. I think it's starting at 8:40 tonight. I don't know. We haven't heard yet. So go check out D420K if you haven't already, because it's going to be pretty fun. Who knows who's going to be there. So y'all have an awesome, blessed day. I love you all. It's been amazing hanging out with you. Everybody here in the panel, go ahead and stay here. I'm just going to close it down for YouTube so you know that. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you again. Bye.